35 called to be in order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Brewley?
Here.
Mr. Monk?
Here.
Mrs. Escalante?
Here.
Mrs. Walker?
Here.
Dr. McFadden?
Here. Roll call has been established. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 4, this is the portion of our meeting where we have citizen comments. Please address your comments to the chair of the board. Please limit yourself to 3 minutes. State your name and address. Are there any citizen comments?
Hi, I am Dante Walker, and I reside at 163 North River Road. I'd just like to comment and say that it has been a privilege over these 4 years attending Mount Clemens High School over these years. As you guys know, in the fall, I'll be attending Oakland University for secondary education, and I realized that many people who don't reside in our community may have a different perspective on our schools. And my role in that is trying to turn that around, that negative perspective that people have of our schools, whether it's in community groups or otherwise. I've also taken upon myself to help students who are still attending these schools when I get back from break, whether it's homework or preparing for anything, and I will continue to help the students of Mount Clemens.
Thank you. Thank you very
You
much.
make us proud, Dante. Yes. Congratulations. You did wonderful, and we're very proud of you. We really are. That is just awesome. You're going to do great.
Yes.
You really are.
Are there any other additional citizen comments?
Hello, Brandon Bowman. I'm the director of the Mount Clemens Public Library. I'm just coming over to once again touch base with you about the appointment of Kathy Tinkler as one of our board members. Currently, we are down to 6 members on our board of 7. It is the school board's privilege to appoint 3 of our members to the board, Kathy being the recent one. We do have an additional 2 members coming up for reappointment in the coming 2020 year. So we need to get those over to you as well. But just once again requesting that you make a motion to reappoint Kathy to our board of trustees. Thank you.
Didn't recognize you with the beard.
We did. We did.
Yeah, last
Did we?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I'm sorry. I missed that.
That's okay. We liked having you here anyway.
I'll be here. Thank you.
We'll make sure you get the memo next time.
Yeah. I missed it because I was on the wrong dates.
All right. Thank you very much. Are there any additional citizen comments? Are there any additional citizens' comments? Seeing there being none, we'll move the agenda. We're going to move the agenda along to item number 5. We're going to make an amendment. Madam Superintendent, I understand we got some individuals that has a time constraint limit. I want to go ahead and slide them in there. Is that the food service?
Yes.
Okay, let's go ahead and have you do that now, okay?
Thank you, Dr. McFadden. Yes, we are pleased that SFE Food Service Company has joined us, and we have the senior state manager for SFE here, Rodell, and of course our building manager or district manager for food service, Cynthia Murphy. And they've prepared a little spread just to give you a taste of what is to come. So would you guys like to share anything?
Well, my name is Rodell Andaluz again, and I'm so pleased to be a part of Mount Clemens. So is the rest of Southwest Food Service Excellence and your director here, Ms. Murphy. We are very excited for this upcoming school year. I believe that we are, Mount Clemens is going to be a valued member of our arsenal of partners in the state of Michigan, and we're looking forward to be a part of the whole entire community. We're trying to integrate Cynthia to getting to know the principals and the building staff. So in that way, if she is very much part of the building, then it's much easier to be able to gather feedback. I'm hoping for us to be perfect, but if we're not, we're definitely going to make the necessary changes to get to that particular place. So with that, I want to introduce you to your director. Your general manager today is Cynthia Murphy.
Hello, everyone. As he said, I am Cynthia Murphy. Nice to see you all. I'm very excited to be here with the partnership with Mount Clemens, and we just look forward to having a great school year. And if you guys have any feedback, good, bad, in between, please reach out to me. I will be in touch with all of you all to make sure that we are staying on track of what you all are expecting from us. So we just thank you guys for allowing us to be here, and we're excited to see what happens moving forward. Thank you.
And already we have a few, I guess they would be different events that you guys are going to be sponsoring, well, not sponsoring, but serving for us. So we're excited about that. And we just look forward to a great year, because we know the kids are going to be excited. And I've already mentioned you to several of our parents, and they are very excited.
Okay.
So looking forward to a great year.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is this up for discussion or make comments or?
Yeah, you want to ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
How y'all doing?
They there, so you can ask a question.
Good. I'm the expert on the board. I think I can say that without no problem. I'm looking for some big things out of you guys. 40 years of restaurant experience. Executive chef by trade. Ran my own restaurant. Ran multiple restaurants. So what you guys showed us, what was that, about 4 months ago? 5 months ago? That's what I expect. That's just me talking. That's my comments.
Sir, you're going to love us then.
I want to. I want to love you to death.
One of the great things is I love having to have an opportunity to be able to kind of converse with somebody that is in the same industry, because it's much easier to be able to explain things that go right and also things that go wrong.
That's
sir.
right. That's right.
And so sometimes the sense of expectation is really, really high, but we don't see all the things that go that happens in between then and there. And I am very, very pleased, sir, that you're in our company. There's more people. I'm a chef. She's a chef. We just interviewed a chef today. I believe that she really liked.
Okay.
So we are very. You would love us here.
I'm excited for you guys. I
Yes,
am.
sir.
And I'm waiting to see what you guys going to bring. I know you guys going to bring it.
Oh yes, we will.
As they say, as they say in our industry, bring it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm excited. So congratulations.
And if you ever want to share some recipes with us, let us know.
I just might do that. I just might do that. All right, I just might do that. You got a deal on that one. Okay. All right.
You all accept, Mr. Monk?
I'm good.
Once again, welcome to Mount Clemens.
Thank you.
We expect great things out of you. I know it's going to be a great school year. Anybody else want to share the floor with this? If not, we're going to move along. Good? All right.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thank you. Safe travels.
On to item number 5, which is an action item, consent agenda. Looking for a motion to approve the minutes for June 18th, 2018 public hearing, regular meeting June 21st, 2019, special meeting in July 9th, 2018.
Typo.
Workshop?
There's a typo.
There's a big typo.
Yep. On 2 of.
So
It's
consent
supposed to be a
agenda
9.
A, approval of minutes for June 18th, 2019. Public hearing, regular meeting, June 21st, 2019, special meeting in July 9th, 2019, board workshop. We're gonna go with item A first. Is there a motion? If we get a motion on the floor and a second, then we can open up for discussions and corrections.
I'll move.
Okay. She moved by Ms. Escalante. Is there a second?
Support.
Support by Ms. Walker. Okay, first thing we're gonna do is correct these dates.
Yep.
There are 2019, not 2018. Now it's on the floor. Is there any other corrections or discussions? Ms. Escalante?
It was brought to our attention by Mr. Monk at the last meeting that minutes needed to be amended from I think, one of those meetings. I think when Cynthia Eichhorst was left off of the Teacher of the Year. Did that get fixed?
Yes, we fixed that,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Because it was approved with that fix.
Gotcha.
So
Okay. I
that's
just
what
wanted to
we
make
went
sure
back.
I was
Yes,
clear on
thank
that.
you
Okay,
for
thank you.
Letting at least the public know that it was
Perfect.
corrected.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Brewley.
The library director can take heart that we appointed the member to his board at the special meeting. That's why he maybe didn't notice it, because the minutes of the special meeting is where that happened.
Okay, yeah.
It was after it didn't make it to the regular meeting, it was done special, but it's done.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments about this? Any other corrections? Did you see anything else, Mr. Martin? Did you see anything in there?
Nope.
I went through it because I know the members has been a big issue. The minutes. I didn't see anything. With that being none, let's go ahead and call the roll, please.
Mrs. Escalante?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Monk?
Yes.
Mr. Brewley?
Yes.
Dr. McFadden?
Yes, motion carried. Go on to item 5B, approval of bills for payment. Is there a motion on the floor? Mr. Brewley?
Yeah, I would move.
Moved by Mr. Brewley. Is there a second?
Support?
Support by Ms. Escalante. Is there any questions or comments? Mr. Brewley?
We had a full committee chaired by our chair of finance, and we went through the bills point by point, found them all to be in order and within budget.
Thank you, Mr. Brewley. Anybody have any questions or anything like that? Seeing there being none, call the roll, please.
Mr. Brewley?
Yes.
Mrs. Escalante?
Yes.
Mr. Monk?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Dr. McFadden?
Yes, motion carried. Action item number 6.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I
sir.
would like to make an amendment. I would like to remove item 6B3 for discussion.
6B3. Motion to remove for discussion item 6B3. Is there a second? There's a motion on the floor to remove item 6B3
For discussion, yes.
for discussion. Yes, there's a second by Mr. Brewley. Let's call a roll on that, please. Oh, wait, is there any, this is for discussion, right? So we got a first and a second. All right, let's open it for discussion then.
You discussing now?
Well, you just
Question.
have, you have the motion, we have to vote on it.
Yeah, you gotta
and then
vote on
it's
it then.
Separated is all.
Yeah.
Right. Is there a question or comments on the motion on the floor?
Oh, no, no question or comments, no.
Okay. Seeing there being none on that, let's call the roll on that motion. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Monk?
Yes.
Mr. Brewley?
Yes.
Mrs. Escalante?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Dr. McFadden?
Yes, motion carried. So item 6B3 has been removed for discussion after we make this first motion on approving item 6 totally, okay? All right, gentlemen, so after we do this, we'll discuss it. Item 6, personnel, action item personnel, approve new hires for official year 2019-2020 employment. We have item 6A, is taken separately, building principals, secondary principal, and elementary principal, Kirk Duncan and Matthew Lucas. Is there a motion on that?
So moved.
So moved by Ms. Walker. Is there a second?
Support.
Support by Ms. Escalante. Is there any questions or comments about that motion?
One
on the
question
floor?
for the superintendent. The salaries that are in the contract, do those represent the 7% reduction?
8%.
8% reduction?
7% is for the teaching staff.
Okay.
And it's 8% for everyone else.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions or comments about the motion on the floor, Mr. Brewley?
We happen to have the Curriculum Personnel Committee, which you chair, and we met with the secondary principal, happened to be there, the new one. And so I think we had a very good discussion with him at that point. But I think people can see that we're very serious about trying to move things in the right direction. I know there was a lot of controversy about the non-renewal of the contract last year, but we're trying from this food service change to some administrative changes to other reorganizations. We're trying to get the district in good working order. And I hope that these changes will be positive and people will understand that, work with the new people, and go forward.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brewley. Any other questions or comments? Not to belay the motion on the floor, but like Mr. Brody said, we did had a conversation at the curriculum personnel meeting, and also with the elementary principal. It was moving things around to make things fit. So this worked out, and because there was a need, so we filled the need. With that being said, as there's no other questions or comments, let's call the roll on item 6A.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. Escalante?
Yes.
Mr. Monk?
Yes.
Mr. Brewley?
Yes.
Dr. McFadden?
Yes, motion carried for item 6A. Is there a motion on the floor for item 6B, item 6B, 1 and 2? Non-administrative positions, district psychologist, Dr. Shannon Hugh Tran, and math teacher,
It's Tim Buck.
it's what?
Tim Buck.
It's Tim
Yeah.
Buck?
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a T missing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Iona Timbuck. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
So moved by Ms. Walker. Is there a second?
Support.
Support by Mr. Brewley. If there's any questions or comments? Mr. Monk.
For our district psychologist, I see she's a doctorate, so she's very well educated. Has she had any training as far as school districts like ours, as far as background dealing with our student population and all of our challenges that we have here?
Yes, and that's why this was very appealing to her.
Okay.
That this is the work that she has been doing, and she found an opportunity because she's moving back home to Michigan, and so she thought that it was the perfect timing.
Was it small school district, big school districts?
Large
districts our
school
size?
district.
Where at?
Large. I forgot the name of the. I'll get that for you.
Okay.
But I just
Okay.
forgot. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
All right.
But yeah.
Okay. I just
and
asked
she
that
also
because
works-
we lost
Yes.
we lost our psychologist who, I know he's been here as long as I have, and I've been here for 28 years.
Yeah.
Back in the Edison program, and it was phenomenal. That's a big loss. I mean, everybody's got to retire sometime, but that's a big loss. So
Yeah.
she's got some pretty big shoes to fill.
Yeah. And she also worked at the hospital as well.
Okay.
So
All right.
in the community.
Okay. And the math teacher, is that one of the math teachers in the secondary complex?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
what grade?
That is this for 6th, 7th, and 8th.
So,
So it was for the middle. Was for the middle school.
So it's for the middle school?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay. Those are questions I had.
Okay. Mr. Brody, you want to comment?
Well, I just want to comment, just so that everyone understands, that we approve these contracts, but we're not involved in
Right,
the hiring
exactly.
process.
Yep, that's
And
right.
so questions that we have are first-timer questions in the sense that we don't know these people.
Right.
And we count on the administration and the committees that are formed within the school district for these positions and the principal positions, that they have been done in the proper way. So we approve them, but we don't select them.
Correct.
Thank you, Mr. Brody. Madam Superintendent, that math teacher, that's the math teacher that fills the issue that we was having
Yes.
at the end of the year. right?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
that is correct.
So that's taken
And-
care of.
Yes. And now we do have one more opening that we'll be looking at too.
Yeah, that's
So
also
we-
in the middle school, right?
Yes, in middle school. And we had talked about the math coach, and that is out there as well. So we have a
Right.
math coach and a math teacher that we're looking for this summer.
I just want to bring that to the forefront, because
Yes.
I know that math teacher was something that was a big issue.
Yes.
And I
So
know
that's
that-
what that one takes care of.
Right, and the math coach kind of tied into the elementary piece, didn't it?
Yes, yes, it did.
All right. So
That
that's
is
why that was
correct.
open. Okay, so we're still looking for one more.
Yes. So one more teacher, because it just opened up, and
The math coach.
the math coach.
Okay, it's still out there.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure that was brought out front, where everybody knew about it, because I know with the personnel meeting met, and then we had a meeting after that. There any more questions or comments? Seeing there being none, call the roll, please.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Brewley?
Yes.
Mrs. Escalante?
Yes.
Mr. Monk?
Yes.
Dr. McFadden?
Yes. Motion carried. We removed Item 6B3 for discussion. Pupil accounting specialist. It was moved by Mr. Monk and second by Mr. Brewley.
Yes,
Let's open this for discussion right now.
thank you. I got a few questions. When the superintendent sent these contracts out, I looked at them in detail. Let me say this, we are elected as a board to be great stewards over public funds and how they're spent. And the superintendent is part of that team. So when I was looking through this, and my questions have nothing to do with the person. I don't even know who the person is, actually. My question solely deals with the contract. My first question is, was this contract vetted through curriculum personnel?
These are the same, these are the ones that we have every year. The only thing that I am sending to legal now is to make sure, because whether you're an administrator or a support, like in the business office, the wording says the exact same thing. Whether you're, like I said, a building principal or you're my assistant to the superintendent. So.
Okay, I'm not following you. You got to explain that.
The language in these contracts are not different, whether it's a true administrator or it's a support staff to the administration.
The language.
Yes.
Okay.
The words are the exact same.
Okay.
And that's what we've been using over the past several years.
Okay.
So this past week, as I'm reading through, I did forward them to legal, and they're reviewing it. Then we might want to make some changes to make the distinction, because it does, all of them reference administrative responsibilities, and then it says, according to your job description. So that's the only difference. If your job description does not say that you're an administrator,
Okay.
then you don't have administrative responsibilities.
So I'm looking at all three contracts,
Yes.
and literally all three contracts say the exact same thing.
And that was what.
Okay, let me
Yes,
finish.
okay.
Also, all three contracts says the exact same benefit package.
Yes.
Now, me being chairman of the policy committee, I went to the policy. Support staff. Support staff, individuals employed to perform custodial duties, maintenance duties, secretarial duties, administrative duties, paraprofessional duties, classroom aid duties, and all other non-instructional duties shall be considered to be support personnel.
Correct.
Does that person fall under there?
No, that is why I sent it to legal, to make sure the correct wording. So this was just a placeholder for you guys to see, and before we actually sign any contracts, we'll get the updated version from legal to say exactly what it should say. So that's why.
I mean, I'm just looking at these contracts and,
No, great question.
you know,
Yeah.
someone who's a data person has the same benefit package as a principal.
Well, as a matter of fact, just so you know, everybody has the same benefit package. The only difference, even with the teaching staff, I think the only difference is that because we all pay, if you want extra life insurance, you have to pay the extra. So we get it's either $50,000 or $60,000 life insurance. So technically, we all have the exact same.
So let me ask you this question.
Okay.
With you saying that, so custodial, maintenance, secretaries are offered.
I understand what you're going to say, but let me tell you why you're looking it up. Remember, we contracted all of those positions out. So
Contracted what positions out?
Custodial, maintenance, and
Okay,
and
all right,
clerical.
okay, all right.
So we don't have, we don't take them out of our policy, but we don't have those positions as district positions anymore. Those were contracted out
Okay,
years ago.
for a sidebar, we'll look at that as far as a policy. They need to be taken out. Because right now, up under the policy, and as far as a policy is law until this board changes it. we need to change that as a board, as far as policy. If we're contracting those out, then we need to add from superintendent to administrators to support staff, then it should be contracted staff. You get what I'm saying? So we need to break that out, so that's not in there. I guess my fundamental issue is that I thought in our April meeting that we voted to eliminate this position. Not eliminate what that person does, but eliminate the position. And it sounds like this position has come back as far as pay scale, as far as benefit package, as far as insurance, the whole night. And I say that to say this. This is why the district got in trouble in the past under 2 previous ago superintendents, because the board at that time, I feel, in my personal opinion, didn't hold her accountable, and things got shot through. And when they got shot through, the budget went up, because we're paying people way too much money for something that they really, for the job that they're doing, it doesn't justify it. So that's why I said the statement, we are elected to be great stewards over this public money. And in that, you ask tough questions. Questions are sometimes uneasy, make you kind of squiggle a little bit, but I'm looking at finance. Like I say, I don't even know who this person is. I've never met him, so I don't even, the name is, I removed the name, I'm looking at the contract. To me, this is the same contract, like you said, that's been in play for what, 7 years now?
I'm not sure how long
Yeah.
you guys, but it's been a while.
Right, it's been a while. So
Yes.
we got to change these contracts, because if we don't, then we're going to get ourselves in financial situations all over again.
And that's why in April, we did move this from an administrative level position. So it is not an administrative level position.
But it still has the administrative wording, though,
And that is why,
and it still has administrative package.
and like I said, we have a number of employees that have the same contract but are not required, because of their job description, does not require them to do administrative duties. So since we've given this same contract to everyone across the board that actually works for the district, that's why I sent it to legal to make sure that the wording is correct. We're okay because everything says it's based on your job responsibilities. So the position that they are hired for would dictate.
Right. I'm not talking about the responsibilities. Remember, I'm not saying about the responsibilities.
Okay.
I'm saying about the financial aspect of this contract. I ain't talking about the responsibilities.
Okay.
I'm talking about, the 20 days of vacation, the 15 days of sick leave, 20 days of vacation, 15 days of sick leave. We're going to be paying their insurance. We pay their omission insurance of $1 million, so that's going to be a cost to the district. We're talking about a lot of money here, y'all.
That's the insurance. We have.
I get it. I understand that. Like I say, I just want to look at the financial aspect of the contract, not the duties, not the person, the financial aspect of the contract.
Okay. So on the insurance piece that you're talking about, that's a blanket insurance, whether we have 1 employee or 15.
Got it.
All of us run under the same
Oh, yeah,
one. So
I know. I
it
got
doesn't
it.
cost us any extra to add an employee.
Well, let me ask
So-
this question. Let me ask this question, because you said that.
Okay.
So you're saying is that we're offering this person 20 paid vacation days. Does everybody in your
Yeah.
office gets 20 paid
Yes.
vacation days?
Yes.
No matter what
Nothing-
they do?
Yes,
So
that is the
that's what I'm
same-
saying. So to me, I see, how can a support staff person have the same benefit package as an administrator? I have a fundamental problem with that.
Okay. Well, that is what the district, so that is something I guess the personnel committee would look at, because that's the exact same thing. I haven't changed.
That's why I asked it to
I
go
haven't
through the
changed
personnel.
now.
Right.
We
Okay.
haven't changed a word for however many years, even way before you were on the board, way before I got here. So this is the contract that this district has used for all district employees.
But it's
So I
not the
don't know.
contract that this board should be using going forward. Things need to change. I've been hearing, oh, this is how we always did it. This
But I-
ain't how we need to keep doing it
But I
either.
believe I said at the beginning that I've sent this, after reading through all of this and realized I've sent this to legal, and
Okay.
they are reviewing that.
Okay, so what's,
I said that in the onset.
okay, so what's the process? Are we voting on this tonight, or are we waiting to vote on this until we hear from legal?
It's the hiring. It's the hiring that you're voting on.
But if we approve the contract, then we approve the contract if we hire the person, and that contract that's on the records is the contract.
But each employee is not signing off until we get the final information from legal. It's the same contract that you guys have already signed off, I don't know how many times. So
I
I'm
get,
trying to
I
go
understand you
forward.
keep bringing it back so many times. Me personally, I'm tired of signing off on contracts that I know I shouldn't be signing off on, and like I said, it's not the person. My duty is to vote to approve or disapprove a contract, so I need to know that I'm signing a contract that is correct and not old, and it's not something we've been using for 10 years.
Okay.
Because it's not relevant right now.
Okay. I can only give you what this district has used, and you
Got it.
have not, this district has not asked, this board has not asked to change anything, so I am looking to change it. But this is what you guys have had, so I want to make sure that I didn't bring you anything new. And when legal says that we need to change it, then of course I would bring that to you.
But legal can't run this district. We as a board run this district. We go to legal for legal guidance. We as a board run the district. We approve contracts. Legal don't approve contracts. They give us legal guidance on contracts.
Mr.
So
Monk,
what would you suggest? Because
Is,
I'm trying to get guidance.
Right.
Mr.
No, I want you to get guidance. I ain't saying don't get guidance, yeah.
Mr. Monk, is there a policy on contracts?
Yeah, they got it right here. Yeah, support staff contracts, yeah,
Okay.
yep.
When was that?
Employment of support staff.
Okay.
But
And-
this position is not considered that kind of support staff.
Right.
So we
Okay.
have two, okay, all right.
This administrative support staff, correct?
Yes.
All right, so right now we're looking at approving the hiring of this position
Yes.
pending, when are we looking at the feedback from legal?
I've been in conversation with them all day, and I'm sure we'll probably have conversation all this week until they get something that they're ready to recommend to the board.
Now, are they looking at modifying our contracts, or this was something that
That-
you discovered?
Yes. Mhm.
And you realize that this is an incorrect contract for the positions you're hiring for?
I can't say that it's incorrect. That's why
Correct.
I'm
That's why you
asking.
send the legal.
Yes.
But something sparked your interest, and you
Yes.
send the legal.
Yes.
Okay, so now we're just waiting for counseling from legal to
Yes.
see what we can modify.
Yes.
Okay.
If we need to at all.
Okay, now, what's the drop dead date for this position? I mean, what's the
The crucial,
exactly?
the crucial was already. So
So
they
you-
actually started doing the work on, I believe it was Tuesday, because we had a number of deadlines, and they came right in, and the actual deadlines that were due this Friday, and the ones that are due Friday, they completed yesterday.
Did they sign the contract already, or?
No, I have not given them a contract to sign.
Okay,
I've given them a letter of intent.
that was my next question. So they
Yes,
received a
so
letter of
everyone
intent?
has gotten a letter of intent.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Monk, you have any more questions? Mr. Brewley?
Yeah, this gets to a little discussion we had at personnel, it touches on it in terms of what we as a board do or don't do in relation to these people. And I raised the issue of if I have to vote not to renew someone's contract, then I want to vote to accept it. Because there was some question, frankly, whether that would have been on the agenda after. What I would suggest is that we don't vote on this tonight, that we are available, and a special meeting could be had when that information is given to us. And at the point that it's given to us, then we do it at that point. I was quite comfortable with what we did with all the 4 others. In the process we followed, I think the contracts for the 2 principals would be, pardon me, the same as what we had previously, and that was fine. And I understand, Jason, if you're not comfortable with the benefit package, I'm comfortable with what we're offering in terms of benefits. I don't see that as a problem or a real issue. We haven't had the people in the policy book working for us. So if we were to hire a maintenance person, we would in fact have to offer them, but we contract with a service for, in my opinion, too many things around here. I think that is a real problem because people are underpaid, undervalued, and underbenefited. And I understand our financial situation, but I would prefer to hire people in for us as opposed to what past boards did and contracted out. I think that's created more trouble. It's also been state policy, which I also disagree with. So I just think there's a lot there that whatever. So I'm comfortable with the benefit package part. I would not be comfortable voting on this tonight until we have it, but I'm also more than willing, and I think others are too, to have a special meeting to take care of whatever needs to be done. I don't know this person. I'm quite content with whomever you choose for that, and then we'll figure it out. But I would be disappointed if we ended up at the same salary levels, because I think that is untenable to the position to which we got rid of. So there has to be a substantial difference, in my opinion, between the salary levels of the incoming person who is going to be a non-administrative person, a support person, than what the outgoing person was. That was a overpaid, underutilized position, and we changed positions, and it should really reflect that.
And it is, the salary is less.
That's
than
fine.
what
Well,
was.
it needs to be less by a greater amount than one of the numbers that I saw here. So that needs to happen. So I think we should wait. I think it's great that you found it what you did, prevented us from possibly making an error, possibly coming up the wrong way. But I'm quite content with the other 4 things that came up tonight. They were done in the proper way.
So, Mr. Brewley, do you want to move to table this to a special meeting with the letter of intent being provided to the board?
I would be happy to do so.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments about that motion on the floor? Yes, ma'am.
How does us not voting on that tonight affect your situation in the office? Can this person still come in and run reports and work for you guys, or does now this mean that this person cannot be there until we get this squared away?
Where is the letter
No,
of intent?
we need, I thought I gave you guys a letter of intent.
You did, you
You-
get
Yeah, they're in the.
Yeah,
we
you
saw
have the
them.
letter of
You do?
intent.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
no, she's asking the question, how does it affect
How is it
this?
going to affect you?
I have to have the person there. We have a number of,
Right.
and because one huge thing that you guys did say that you want to make sure that somebody's here that can hit the ground running, and we don't train, because we don't have the manpower to train anyone.
I'm
So
not
they
unhappy
came-
with the
Mr. Brewley?
I'm not unhappy with the person, but we should not have someone in the office who is not sign a contract. That should be the way it generally works, in my opinion. And like I said, I'm willing to come in whatever day you need it, and we can figure a time to make it happen, but we need to get this straightened out beforehand. And I am biting the hand of the report that I wanted, and has been pushed off until this person comes to, so I do understand that. But I think we get the cart before the horse, and we get possibly in trouble, because I don't know how numbers could be quoted until, because this is essentially a new position. With the principals, that was an old position that we merely continued. This is new. So we need to handle it in a new way. It is not a continuation of the past.
And just so you know, that with the letter of intent, that is why I brought them in when I did. And there are a number of projects that we have to complete and we're working on. So I can't afford not to have someone in here, so they will be working under the letter of intent until we get the contract piece laid out, because there are too many things between now and when school starts. So they won't have a signed contract, but they are working under the letter of intent.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Motion on the floor is to table this, item number 6, under B3, into a special meeting to be called. Seeing there are no questions or comments, call the roll, please.
Mr. Brewley,
Yes.
Mr. Monk,
Yes.
Mrs. Walker,
No.
Mrs. Escalante,
Yes.
Dr. McFadden.
Yes. Motion carried. Miss Superintendent, Madam Superintendent,
Yes, sir.
I know this is gonna be detrimental. We're gonna need a timeline for that special meeting, okay?
Okay,
As soon as possible.
okay. Thank you.
Okay. Something for tonight?
No, we just have to sign.
Okay. Moving the agenda along, information items. Item number 8, personnel report. And that was pretty much personnel, but
Yes.
anything else to report on that?
That was it.
So no additional items for that one?
No.
Okay. Item number 9, June cash flow report.
Well, we did discuss this in the Finance Committee, and we still are in the positive, ending the year, June 30, and we are in the midst of audit, so the team came out in June for a week. Well, actually, it was 3 days that they were here, and they'll be back later on at the end of the summer to complete their field work. So you'll be hearing from them. And the cash flow report would be the only thing you'll get this month and next month until the audit report is completed.
Thank you. Item number 10, open purchase order listing.
The same thing there, we discussed the open purchase order listing at the Finance Committee, and everything is in order there. Unless one of the committee members would like to add anything.
Very well. Item 11, contract listing.
Again, this was discussed at the Finance Committee meeting, and these are the contracts through the end of June, so with the July report next month, it will be updated to include the new contract.
Thank you, Madam Superintendent. Now, next item, which is informational item. I don't know how you want to do this. You want to, I believe, the policy chair, but policies for first reading. Mr. Monk.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A couple of things. We met with Neola two meetings ago, and it was pleased to hear that what he said, how policies were handled in the past by past boards, was nothing like how we are handling policies today. So I want to say thank you to my members. I know I'm calling y'all short notice. I asked a lot of y'all, but I think we need to always and continually to be diligent on our policies as we go forward. We have a lot of policies. I mean, we have a lot of policies. If I was to set this book, if I was to set a book on this table, the book would be about this high of all the policies that we have for the district. With that being said, there are 2 major policy updates that come out every year. One that's in February, and the other one, I believe you said, is in October?
I think so.
Is October. So going forward, I've asked the superintendent to get this to us as quickly as possible. She's designated Joy as her liaison to get this to us. Thank you, Joy, for all your help. And I think this will also, with the automated streamline of how our policies are updated to our website, it'll also streamline things. So in these updates, I will give a review, and I will go through the policies, and I know they're a little lengthy, but sometimes some of my members don't get a chance to read them all. But it won't be a long reading, but I'll go through each one. Keep in mind that most of the policies, correction, adoptions, revisions, new, those are both state and federal mandated policies that we must put in place as far as that goes. Some of the reminders was that the minimum wage went up to $9.45 on March 29, 2019. That doesn't affect any of our employees because our employees are paid higher than that. Internal Revenue Service, yes.
Question. Well, we should make sure that our contractors are following that. So it does, we need to follow, but we should make sure that our contractors are doing it.
And that's what he's referring to, the contract employees. We don't have any
Well,
hourly.
it covers everybody.
Right, we don't have any hourly employees, so
Yeah,
the
no
district
hourly,
wouldn't
yeah.
worry about it. But yes, none of our contract employees are at minimum wage.
Minimum wage. Yeah, thank you, Ms. Brewer. Internal Revenue Service issued a notice 2019 through 02, which provides a new mileage. That mileage goes up to 58 cents. So that's for our administrators and they travel or however they do that. The U.S. Department of Labor also put forth a more of the guidelines and posters that we as a district has to have up. I don't know where that position is, Superintendent, but she's going to make sure that all the new posters are posted where they should be. I don't know if they need to be posted in every building or in the HR department. I don't know, but she'll make sure those are done. Starting with the policy bylaws 0100. The open meeting was revised to accommodate the absence of a member, which we passed this about 6 months ago. So they added a little bit more revision to it. So we're going to bring that. We're bringing that for first reading. Bylaw 0172.2, closed session. The bylaw was revised to allow the board to consider security planning to address existing or potential threats to the safety of students and staff in closed session. This is great because I know you guys have heard me saying that we need some plan, we need to talk about it. Well, this actual revision to this policy allow us to go into closed session to talk about our plan, and Ms. Escalante is going to talk about that in her presentation when I get done. Policy 1422, drug-free workplace. This new policy was prepared to provide the same policy requirements for administrators as is currently provided in policy 312201 and 412201 for other employees. We have policies 1430, 3430, and 4430. We are sending those, our superintendent has submitted those for legal. Whenever we get policies that deals with legalization, we're dealing with, this brings in our union. I've talked to the union president. We want to make sure that we are not in any type of fashion in any negative way as far as the union contract and everything else. So we're waiting words from legal. They're going to take a look at, and that's one of the services that they provide to us. They have a legal team to look at policies. So those policies will come at our next meeting for first reading. Did they give a timeline when they'll be back?
They're reviewing it now, so I should get it not later than Friday.
Okay.
So as soon as I get it, I'll pass it on to you.
Okay. Policy 2210, curriculum development. On December 18, 2018, the Michigan Department of Education released its model program of instruction in career development as required by previous changes to the law. Beginning with the 2019-2020 school year, district must ensure that grade-appropriate instruction on career development is provided in grades K through 12. So they revised that. This policy was revised to reflect the requirement. Districts also should review the appropriate Michigan Career Development Model. Policy 2414, reproductive health and family planning. This policy was revised to delete references to the Michigan Department of Education, MDE publication that is no longer provided as official guidance. Policy 3120, employee of professional staff, and policy 3120.04, employee of substitutes. This policy lays out the guidelines that we could bring in substitutes now. They're different. You know, as far as the qualifications, so this these two policies was revised pertaining to that. Policy 5113, schools of choice, and 511302, school of choice operation provided by federal law. This policy have been revised to reflect the reauthorization of the Elementary and Secondary Educational Act, the ESEA, through Every Student Succeed Act, ESSA. Basically, they have been renamed with the acronyms, and these will no longer reflect the acronym of the No Child Left Behind. Policy 5200, attendance. This revision modifies the mandatory attendance age provided by law. It was 16, it is now 18. Policy 6321, new school construction renovation. What this policy is about is that we need to submit some type of safety plan to whenever we go to either build a new structure or either to remodel a structure. We are to submit a safety plans, and this is based on legislation for construction with first responder agencies doing the planning of new construction or major renovations. Policy 6325, procurement federal grants. This is another policy that we probably revised twice, maybe 3 times in the past. This again come up. Some, you know, they took out some language, they added in some language. So that's what that policy is all about. Policy 6605, crowdfunding. They revised that. You know, basic crowdfunding is now crowdfunding falls up under district guidance. So we need to make sure that we are regarding this evolving fundraising mechanism, and then the emphasis was added in the policy to address the importance of privacy protection for students and to maintain appropriate fiscal safeguards. Yes.
Did I read in here, we disapprove of that? Is that, I read that.
Which one?
Crowdfunding.
Crowdfunding?
Yeah.
No, that's a revised. We already have that on the books. It's a revised.
We did?
Yeah.
Because I just thought I read it in here.
Did it? No, this is a typo. Yeah, crowdfunding policy 6605.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had guidance for that. When we had looked at it over, what, about a year ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Some
I want to say,
limitations on it.
you know, I sent you anybody chance to send it out to all of the updated?
No, I mean in here.
Oh, okay.
What it says in here, which is fine for me, because I think it's like a real problem with it.
Okay, policy 8500, food service. This policy has been revised in response to the issues raised by United States Department of Agriculture, reviews district policies and procedures. The USDA position is that the appropriate team. So basically, a team has to be put together if our food service, our new food service company, a team has to be put together if we have students that require special nutritional needs that's outside of the federal guidelines. So that's what that policy is all about. Okay? And yes.
Well, page 129. The Board of Education does not permit or sanction use of crowdfunding. So we don't.
Oh, let me get my policy. Hold on. Where's my policy?
What's what it says in here. I mean, which I concur with, but you don't have to.
What page is that?
129.
Policy number crowdfunding was.
No, we X'd that out, that's what that means.
My copy's not X'd out.
Oh,
Yeah,
Does that option 1?
yeah, that's option one.
yeah, option 1 is crossed out.
So that means that that's,
We're not
okay.
taking that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's crossed out. Then on the back page, we select where it says, we select option 2, and then we select of the board upon the recommendation of the superintendent. And then new language was added in there. Yeah. Okay, and last but not least, before I turn it over to my colleague, policy 8640, transportation for field and other district-sponsored trips. This is revised. This policy is related. Administrative guidelines have been revised as part of the regular review of the template. And at this time, and we also have a numerous amount of AGs. When you ever see AG, that means administrative guidelines. Those are set up by our superintendent. She's going to bring those to our next meeting. Her and her staff is going to go through all the AGs and make sure they are in order with all the pertaining policies that they will be supporting. And at this time, I will turn it over to my colleague, Ms. Escalante.
Mr. Monk.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, Ms. Escalante.
Yes, sir.
On the policy number 8640, transportation with administrative guidelines. I know this is for first reading.
864, yes.
The
yes,
last one you just spoke about
Yep.
with the administrative guidelines.
Yeah.
Those guidelines, the guidelines already been vetted, correct? We already went through those guidelines?
Yes, this is a revision. Yes, we have these on the books, but this is a revision. When you look at your actual template, you see those hash marks on the side? Mm-hmm. The hash mark saying is telling you that's what the changes are, whether they're removed, added. When it's added, it's in bold. When it's removed, it's got the lines through it. So as you see on page 1 of 3, a lot of language was added in there. But then again, we didn't take that. We have the option to taking that language or not taking that language. We crossed out the added language because it didn't pertain to us. But we did choose the district shall assume transportation costs for a certain number of approved field trips as specified in the superintendent's administrative guidelines.
And the reason I asked that question, because this came up before about students going to Washington DC or going to other type of events. Now, the administrative guidelines, had that already been vetted? We already went through that, right? That's done, or we still working on that?
No, we just got those and sent them to the administrative staff. So they're reviewing those now. And it's in accordance with this. So when we get the policy, guidelines are submitted with them. So we have to go through and adjust and see how we will be able to carry out what the board wishes to do by our guidance. So as the staff is looking at it, we'll make that determination, and that's why we will bring that back.
Yeah, so what happens that on that one, just give you an instance, on that one, a certain number of approved field trips as specified in superintendent administrative guidelines. So her guidelines is going to put together how they go about selecting a certain amount of approved field trips. Everybody ain't going to get to go on a field trip because field trips cost money. So according to the budget, according to what we can afford, her guidelines will say, okay, this is how you put it in as far as importance, educational, whether it's just social, or however she wants to handle it, that's what she does. And that will kind of coincide with the budget as far as what we want to put as a cap, as far as money, as far as field trips, and then that supports to certain amount of field trips that are approved by the superintendent.
I'm tracking. I understand. Maybe I'm not asking my question the way it can be understandable. The question I'm asking is, if there's a group, say, let's don't say anything. Let's just say a group, a club or whatever, that meets with the students. Say it's the Ace of Spades club. Let's call it that.
Okay.
And they want to go on a trip to New York City. Are those falling under this policy?
Oh, yes.
Yes,
Yes.
and
That's
then
what I'm
that,
asking.
and then that particular instance that you just mentioned will have to be vetted through the administrative guidelines.
Right.
Okay.
Appropriate behavior and all that.
Right. So that will fall under district-sponsored trip.
Yes.
Certain number of
And it might
approved
be-
field trips, yeah.
Right, yes.
Okay.
Because
That's why we didn't mark all field trips.
Okay.
All field trips, man, people can go on a field trip just for whatever.
Yeah, and I say that because there might be a club or whatever that want
Right.
to take, somewhere else, but the guidelines will prohibit us from doing it. So I want to make sure that the guidelines now has been worked through where those things can happen. So that's why I'm asking that
And that's what
question.
she's doing right now, and she'll bring that to our next meeting as far as what they came up with.
Okay, so that's still, this is kind of like first reading and a half.
First reading, yeah, first reading, and
Yeah.
we'll bring to the second reading with the final version of their administrative guidelines.
So it might be a third reading on
But,
that one.
well, with the guidelines, you can adopt the policy. We're working on the guidelines. That's a separate part. We just have to make sure that our guidelines line up with the policy, and then we'll report back to you how we're gonna make that happen.
Okay,
So it could be in two different
that's fine.
things.
I just know it's a very important
yes,
piece, that's all.
yes.
And I want to make sure it's, taken care of. I want the best for our kids here.
Yes.
That's all. That's all I want. However it happens, I'm good with it. As long as nobody get hurt.
And with her first report debut, Ms. Escalante.
All right. So I am just going to give you a little overview of two policies that Mr. Chair of the Policy Committee gave me as homework. And I think we're going to do this on a regular basis,
Yes, we
correct? Okay. So the first one is Policy 8400, which is school safety information. And the purpose of this policy is to maintain a safe school environment. This includes while students are on campus, at school-sponsored activities, and en route to and from school and school-sponsored activities. Upon review of this policy, there were some revisions that took place through Neola. The first area of change was on page 2. I don't know if any of you have those in front of you. It's okay if you don't. You can always look it over later. But it was just some verbiage. Basically, our superintendent will convene a meeting for the purpose of conferring regarding the school safety information policy agreement. This meeting isn't new, but they've added to be specified from what grades the student participants will now be from. So basically, there's like a committee that meets for this meeting, and there's participants that take place, and there's a long list. Some of them would be people from the ISD, building admin, parents, teachers, and now what we've added in that is students from grade 7th through 12th. They can partake in that for input. After the meeting takes place, the superintendent will make a report to all the board members about all of the reviews and recommend the approval and adoption of any proposed revisions and additions. So that's the first change. On page 3, our superintendent is our district contact person who will be the recipient of any information that comes from local law enforcement officials, prosecutors, court officials, and now information, this is the new part that's been added in, provided from the Michigan State Police Student Safety Hotline, which is called OK to Say. Our compliance officers, who are Thomas Hanna and Stacy Tomlinson, their information has to be provided to the Michigan State Police, and we're required to provide their information as our compliance officers twice a year when there's more than one person listed on this position. Okay, now I'm going to read this paragraph to you on page 4. This is new. This was added in. And it says, the district contact person shall notify the principal of the school of attendance of a student about whom information is received from law enforcement officials, prosecutors, or court officials within 24 hours of the receipt of that information. The principal shall in turn notify the building staff members who he or she determines have a need to know the information that has been received within 24 hours of receipt of that information. So this would be in reference to some type of information that could pose a threat or an issue. So that's what was added on page 4. And then on page 5, so basically our superintendent is required at least once annually to submit a report to the superintendent of public instruction stating incidents of crime occurring at school. At least annually, a copy of the most recent report of these crimes or incidents shall be made available to parents or legal guardians of each student enrolled in the district. I'm going to read what those crimes would include. Physical violence, gang-related acts, illegal possession of a controlled substance analog, or other intoxicant, trespassing, property crimes including but not limited to theft and vandalism, including an estimate of the cost to the district resulting from the property crime. This report should be kept up to date and collected by each building with a weekly log. And if somebody was to request this report, we have to give it to them within 7 days of the request. What's new to that is that any incidents falling under the above categories that I just read to you have to be reported to the Michigan State Police within 24 hours. Also, on page 5, we are now authorizing the superintendent, principal, and assistant principals to request vehicle registration information on any suspicious vehicles that are within 1,000 feet of our school property. It's like the safe zone that they call it. And that is it's called LEIN, or Lean, Law Enforcement Information Network. So now they have they can request information if there's, somebody hanging out that they're concerned about for the safety of our students. Okay, so that is pretty much it on policy 8400 under school safety information. Wait, no, I'm sorry. We have one more on page 6 for a threat assessment. So Neol has identified a new publication done by the U.S. Secret Service and Department of Homeland Security called Enhancing School Safety Using a Threat Assessment Model, an Operational Guide for Preventing Targeted School Violence. Basically, the section discusses that our superintendent will have building-level trained threat assessment teams. These teams will be headed up by the building principal and include a school counselor, school psychologist, instructional personnel, and where appropriate, a school resource officer. This team will meet on a regular basis upon the knowledge of a threat. So all really good changes that have come about as far as keeping our students safe. Now on to policy 8402. This is brand new, and it is emergency operations plan. And I know you were super excited when this popped up, because you've been talking about this for a while. It requires us to have an emergency operations plan in place for our buildings, and we have to have that in place no later than January of 2020. The plan will be reviewed biannually thereafter. This is what the plan must entail. It has to include guidelines and procedures that address the following: school violence and attacks, threats of school violence and attacks, bomb threats, fire, weather-related emergencies, intruders, parent and pupil reunification, threats to a school-sponsored activity or event, whether or not it is held on school premises, a plan to train teachers on mental health and pupil and teacher safety. I believe we have a lot of stuff that we already implement that pretty much covers this, but this kind of just makes it official. Unfortunately, in the day and age that we're in, it's necessary. The other thing that is great about this is that policy 0160 allows us to go into closed session to discuss this plan, which you also touched on. We don't want people knowing what our plans are to keep our students safe in the unfortunate event. So we have the right to go into closed session and talk about anything concerning this policy. I believe you mentioned that this will also be added to the superintendent evaluation. This is part of the eval now, and that's 2 times per year. So that's pretty much all I have on those 2 policies.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Escalante. You did well.
Thanks.
You did well. You did a great job. At this time, I will entertain any questions from any of my board members pertaining to anything. I think we pretty much got everything out there.
Any questions for the chair of the policy committee? Seeing there being none, let's move along with the agenda. Item number 13, superintendent's comments.
Thank you. First, I'd like to say congratulations and welcome to Mount Clemens, to our new staff members that have joined us in the last few days. We're excited to have you here, and it's going to be an exciting year and lots of exciting things happening. So this is our new day dawning. So we're looking forward to a new year. Also, summer school is underway, and students are attending and even taking part in the Meet Up and Eat Up. So we're excited about the learning that's taking place, and thank you very much to Ms. Mary Campbell and all of our teachers that are teaching this summer, extending the learning for our students. So thank you, and to the parents that are making sure that their kids are getting here on time. So thank you so much for that. Custodial staff and maintenance crew are busy cleaning buildings, and they've been very busy throughout the summer. So that will continue throughout, so that everything is ready and sparkling by the time all of our students get back. The back-to-school bash is going to be on Thursday, August the 22nd, so we're busy planning for that, and lots more will be said about that. And so there will be flyers and robocalls and invitations and making sure that our partners are joining us again this year, which of course is MDHHS, the SMART system. Myers is one, Anton Art Center. We do have several. SFE, our new food service company, and Henry Ford, of course, the Macomb County Sheriff's Department, so I know I'm going to forget someone, but all of our partners, we are very pleased that you are again helping us out with the back-to-school bash. And I'm not sure if Patrick's going to hit on this, but at the annual, this is the 10th annual MCHS Alumni Association is having an all-class reunion on September 13th. And I know lots more is going to be coming out about that, but I just want to put it out there that the all-class reunion will be on September the 13th. Okay. And for our fall sports, the schedules are getting finalized, and those will be posted on the website soon. But our fall sports are volleyball, and that first game is, believe it or not, September 7th. And then the first football, home football game, and it is our first game of the season. That is going to be on August the 29th. And we are excited about that, so more information to come about that. And that is it. I hope everyone is enjoying a safe and well-rested summer, and we'll see you in just a few short weeks. So thank you. So those are my comments.
Thank you, Madam Superintendent. Item 14, committee reports. We will start with the Business Committee.
All right, we met on July 10th. We went through all of the financials and found everything to be in order. One thing we discussed was intermediate school district-wide millage. That is just in the thought process right now, but I'm going to let Ed say a few things about that, since that is definitely his forte. Go.
Well, schools are underfunded. And if you go back 30 years, there's a report put out by Michigan State professor that basically dramatizes our need for an enhancement millage, a millage that would only be used to benefit the educational nature of the school system. And there's discussion amongst various school districts. It would be something that would be county-wide, and the voters would have an up or down on it. And so it is being discussed. And as that proceeds, we'll talk more about it.
And other than that, I think that was about it.
Thank you. Policy. Anything additional?
Nothing additional. Just want to thank my colleague for her first presentation. And just want to make one comment. Just want to really let our parents know and the public know that we are going to be on top of school safety. There's no more important job than us making sure that your kids get back home safely. And also, all of our teachers, all of our administrators, everybody in the district get home. I work at Chrysler, and one of the things that they say when you walk in, be safe, get back home. And that's what this is about. You come to a public place, we want to make sure that everybody in this district get back home safe to their loved ones. And that's my comment.
Thank you, Mr. Monk. Curriculum and personnel, that would be myself. We did have a meeting, we went over the personnel individuals tonight. We did talk about the data person. I didn't know it was going to be this rumbunctious tonight. But, it is what it is, and we are going to get to the bottom of it. That's what it's all about. That's why we come together as a group, and I appreciate that. We also talked a lot about curriculum. We are serious about curriculum. I mean, it's going to be kind of scary how serious we're going to be this year on curriculum. But that's good. I hope it scares everybody. I mean, it scares the Jesus out of you. But we are serious about that. We did talk about personnel committee about trying to find funding for different positions, such as social workers and things of that nature, and also put people in the right positions. So that was also a talk, Mr. Monk. So I just want to let you know that. Mr. Brewer, did I miss anything?
No.
Oh, we met with the principals at the curriculum meeting, or personnel meeting. They kind of both go together. good things look like it's gonna happen, but, you know, people can say things. We're gonna see what happens. We did put a bug on the floor that we're not gonna wait till the last minute. We're gonna be on them for about 6 months, see what happens, and then we're gonna go from there. That's it. Madam Superintendent, I miss anything?
No, you didn't. sir.
Ms. Walker?
Nope, I think you got it all.
All right. Community Coalition.
Currently, our plans were on hold until our new principal was hired on officially, so I have invited him to our next meeting, which will be next Wednesday at 10:30 in this room. We can then set our calendar for the school year with his approval for the Real Talk and the other events that we'll be doing as coalition. So that's all my report on that. I would like to liaise a moment from the city, if I may. This out real quickly.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yes, sir.
We just want to let the public know that the weather is going to be it's going to be turning for the worst the next couple of days, if not the weekend. So there are cooling centers opening up around Mount Clemens for the foreseeable future, not just for this weekend, but for the rest of the summer. I'm going to go over these quickly. The County Health Services over on Elizabeth Road, the Sheriff's Department, the Martha T. Berry Center, the Ray of Hope, which is over on 2 Crockett Boulevard across from the Rec Bowl, and the Salvation Army are all cooling centers. If folks do not have air conditioning, which many of our seniors and unfortunately our homeless folks do not have air conditioning, so we can get the word out that these places are available and they're open to get out of the sun, get some water, and stay cool. That would be nice. I do have permission to put these on the marquees at all of our buildings to show folks that the cooling centers are available. I have put this on the government and the education channel to hopefully get the word out that these places are going to be available. Again, this weekend's going to be quite oppressive, so we want to make sure we can do our part and keep our seniors and other folks safe. So that's all I have for you.
Thank you, Patrick. Legislation. That was Mr. Rickman. I'll be Mr. Rickman for right now. There was no meeting. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. We'll get that next time. Athletics Ad Hoc Committee. We had a brief meeting, but we got another meeting tomorrow.
Yes.
So 5:30 p.m.
Yes.
Mr. Monk, if you on phone, I'd like to give you a call in. If my whole team's not there.
You said 5:30?
5:30 p.m.
You know what? I'm gonna show up because I'm off for the next 4 days.
Okay, that sounds good too. So, Ms. Escalante, you gonna be there tomorrow? Because you told me maybe
Put me
not.
on the spot.
But it's okay.
I'm not sure yet. I'll text you.
Well, there's your backup right there, your policy chair. So,
Actually, no, I'm sorry. No, I will not be. I'm actually going to be in Midland overnight tomorrow with my husband.
and that's what you told me before.
Yes.
So, Mr. Monk got your back.
Okay.
All right,
I can call in if you'd like me to do that.
we're good.
Okay.
So we have an athletic meeting tomorrow. We're going to talk a lot about the next coming year and the plan and the course of action and see what's going on. Okay,
Yeah.
we're going to see a lot of things.
The principal and the AD.
They both will be there tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
That's
Wonderful.
good.
Okay. G, Educational Foundation. Is Mr. Rickman again?
Yes.
Yep.
There was
Take
no
it.
meeting. I don't know. I don't know if there's a meeting or not, but we'll figure it out. Item 15, board comments. Mr. Monk.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, I think everybody knows I'm a night owl, and I read a lot. I used to hate English when I was in high school, but now I read so much. You think I was an A student. I was a C+ student, and I was happy about that. So, I came across this article out of Education Week when I was online, and it just made so much sense, and I'll pass this along to the superintendent. Basically, what this article talks about, and data has shown that when new principals take over a new job, they need to make sure that they have a mentor. It's the same way in any business model. You need to make sure you have a mentor. So hopefully our new principals will put together a team, whether it's here in the district, a team that they know outside the district, but somebody who they can bounce ideas off of, somebody who they can kind of brainstorm with. I think, or the study, the information show that will be very, very, very crucial to their success, having a mentor. And I just want to mention one comment in here that says, what do you know now that you wish you've known in the first year of before you started your principalship? I talked a lot about the importance of the circle of improvement and learning, but I think what I know now is that importance of relationships and having relationships-based practices and approaches in a school. Deep, authentic relationships are the foundation for students and adults' wellness and academic success. So I'm gonna pass this along to the superintendent. This is an article out of the Educational Week. But, you know, I would, you know, hope that I am wishing and praying, and I will do what I can to make sure that our principals are successful. But it's a tall tale for our principals. It's a job that is going to demand a lot of hours. That's going to demand a lot of patience. That's going to demand leadership. But I think they are for the task. But I think it's important if they have some type of mentor that they can, you know, they'll get frustrated. They need somebody to talk to, bounce things off of. So, those are my comments. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Monk. Mr. Bruley.
I think we're all working for success. We all want to try and make it work for this next coming year. We've spoken a lot tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Bruley. Ms. Escalante.
I just wanted to say I hope everybody's enjoying their summer. I hope you're being safe. Take your kids to the library. I took mine 2 days ago, and they had a blast checking books out, and I kind of let them have free range for July, part of July, end of June, but now I'm on a routine where they aren't even, I hid the remotes this morning, so they couldn't turn the television on. It was really, I know, I did. I have the best spot, too. But anyways, they read. And I think it's so important that we keep our kids reading and engaged because they lose a lot over the summer if they're not doing that. So that's what we're doing in our home, at least for now. I am very optimistic and have a good feeling about all of the changes that are coming. I know it's still a little uneasy for people that are directly involved, even for the new hires, you know, because they're coming in new and they're taking on a huge task. But I also know that God is good and He has a plan for everything, and I think He's had His hand over this district for a long time. So with that being said, continue to enjoy your summer, be safe, don't drive your parents too crazy, and once a bather, always a bather.
Thank you, Ms. Escalante.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Ms. Walker.
It is going to be so nice to start the year in such a positive way. Dante, thank you for coming tonight. And can you come up here and face the camera this time? Girls, come here for a minute. Face the camera. Come on. Come on so people can see your faces. I want everyone to see the kind of kids we have here and how proud we are of you. So come right up here. Give the camera a big smile. You are why we're here. You are awesome. Those are our kids. We are so proud of you. And like I said, you're why we're here. It doesn't get better than this. We are proud of you. We love you. You are just going to be so successful. You're going to change the world.
Yep.
Those are my comments tonight.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ms. Walker. I can't follow that up.
Nope.
So I'm going to say those are my comments. All right. That's it. Seriously, that's all I'm going to say. Those are my comments. I'm not going to talk much. Talk way too much. We're going to move on to the next item, which is going to be item 16, closed session for superintendent's evaluation. Discuss the superintendent's evaluation. So hopefully we still got some energy left on the table. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Is there support? Okay. There's no question or comments on this motion on the floor? Or is there? No questions, comments? Call the roll, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Monk?
Yes.
Mr. Bruley?
Yes.
Dr. McFadden?
Yes. We are going into closed session at 7:54 p.m.